In the vibrant heart of Lagos, Nigeria, amidst the bustling markets and the colorful streets, lived a young woman named Amina. Her laughter was like music, and her dreams were as vast as the African savanna. Amina was the daughter of Chief Adebiyi, a wealthy and influential man whose word was law in their community. Unknown to Amina, her father had plans that would shatter her world. One sultry evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the city, Amina sat under the neem tree in their lush garden, lost in a book. Her father approached, his steps heavy with purpose. "Amina," Chief Adebiyi began, his voice carrying the weight of his intentions. "It is time you knew about the plans I have made for your future." Amina looked up, her eyes reflecting the colors of the sunset. "What plans, Baba?" "I have agreed to a proposal of marriage on your behalf," he declared. The air seemed to still around them, heavy with the impending change. "To whom?" Amina's voice was a whisper, her heart beginning to race with anxiety. "Olumide Coker, the son of billionaire oil magnate Chief Dotun Coker. This union will benefit our families greatly," her father explained, his tone indicating that the matter was not open for discussion. Amina felt her world spin. "But Baba, I do not love him. I do not even know him." Her plea hung between them, desperate and raw. Chief Adebiyi's expression hardened. "Love? You will learn to love him. This is about more than just your feelings. It's about our family's legacy." The following days were a blur for Amina. She met Olumide, a tall, imposing man with a sharp gaze that seemed to size her up like one of his many business ventures. He was polite, yet there was a coldness about him that made Amina shiver. As the wedding preparations began, Amina felt trapped in a life she had not chosen. Her mother, subdued and gentle, tried to comfort her. "It is our way, Amina. Sometimes we must put family first," she whispered, her eyes sad with empathy and resignation. Amina's heart ached for freedom, for the chance to choose her own path. She spent her nights gazing at the stars, wondering about the world beyond her father's reach. It was during one of these starlit nights that Amina made a decision that would change her life forever. "I cannot do this," she murmured to herself. With nothing but determination fueling her spirit, Amina began to plan her escape. She knew the risks were immense, but the thought of a life not lived was far more terrifying. Under the cloak of darkness, Amina packed a small bag. She slipped through the shadows, the vibrant city of Lagos a stark contrast to the darkness in her heart. As she reached the city limits, the first light of dawn began to touch the sky. Amina turned for one last look at the life she was leaving behind. Her heart was heavy, but her resolve was firm. With a deep breath, she stepped onto the bus that would take her far away from the marriage she never wanted, toward a destiny of her own making. As the bus trundled down the dusty road, Amina felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. She was alone, yes, but for the first time in a long time, she felt alive. Little did she know, the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges and surprises that would test her courage in ways she never imagined. And thus, Amina's story began, a tale of defiance, adventure, and the relentless pursuit of freedom, a testament to the indomitable spirit of a woman who dared to dream beyond the boundaries set for her. Amina's bus wound its way through the countryside, passing villages that dotted the landscape like scattered beads on a vast tapestry. With each mile, her resolve strengthened, yet a knot of anxiety tightened in her stomach. Lagos, with all its chaotic beauty, had been her world. Now she ventured into the open arms of the unknown, her future a blank canvas. The bus halted in a small town at the edge of the Yankari Reserve, a place where nature sprawled untamed and free. Amina disembarked, her legs stiff from the long ride, her senses engulfed by the smells and sounds of the wild. The air was thick with the scent of earth and foliage, a stark contrast to the urban tang of exhaust and asphalt she had grown accustomed to. She found a modest inn near the reserve and secured a room with the little money she had. That night, as she lay in the unfamiliar bed, the sounds of the nocturnal wilderness whispered through the walls. Thoughts of her father's disappointment and Olumide's indifference haunted her, yet the calls of distant wild creatures spoke to a part of her soul that yearned for liberation. The next morning, Amina ventured into the reserve. The dense brush and towering trees enveloped her, making her feel both insignificant and part of something greater. As she walked, she came across an elderly man seated beside a fire, his face lined with the stories of years past. He was crafting a figurine from wood, his hands moving with the ease of long practice. "Greetings, young traveler," he called out, his voice as textured as the bark of the trees around them. "What brings you to the heart of Yankari?" Amina approached, intrigued by his welcoming presence. "I am seeking a new path," she replied, the words feeling both inadequate and profound. The old man studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Many come here to find what they cannot see in the clamor of daily life. Sit, share my fire. Perhaps you will find some of what you seek." As she sat, the man continued his work, his fingers deftly shaping the wood. "In these parts, we believe that every path is strewn with both gifts and challenges. The trick is to accept both with grace." His words resonated with Amina, soothing some of the turmoil within her. They talked for hours, the old man sharing tales of the land and its people, stories where humans and nature lived in a rhythm of mutual respect and dependence. Inspired by his words, Amina decided to stay longer in Yankari, to learn from this man and the silent wisdom of the wilderness. She helped him gather materials for his craft, learned the calls of the birds and the names of the trees. With each day, her fears of the past and the future ebbed, replaced by a profound connection to the present moment. In this remote part of the world, Amina found not just refuge, but a new vision for her life. She began to see a future where she could be the master of her fate, not bound by the expectations of others, but guided by her own desires and dreams. The land and its stories imbued her with a newfound strength, a determination to live authentically. As days turned into weeks, Amina's story wove itself into the fabric of the local law, her presence a familiar sight among the villagers and travelers who passed through. She learned to craft her own tales, infusing them with the wisdom she had gathered, her narrative a vibrant tapestry of her experiences and dreams. Yet, as she embraced her new life, the world beyond Yankari stirred. News reached her of her father's relentless search, his determination to bring her back to the life she had fled. With each passing day, the threat of her old life encroaching on her new one grew, setting the stage for decisions that would define the essence of her freedom. As the seasons changed, Amina's existence in Yankari blossomed into a tapestry rich with new colors and textures. Her days were filled with learning and sharing, the art of storytelling becoming her voice. However, the tranquil life she cultivated was soon to face the ripples of her former world. One crisp morning, as dew still clung to the leaves and the air carried a hint of impending change, a dusty jeep wound its way through the narrow paths of the reserve. The vehicle stopped at the village where Amina had found her refuge, and from it stepped a figure all too familiar to her, a former servant of her father's household. The presence of someone from Lagos sent a shiver down Amina's spine. The old fears, the ones she had tucked away beneath layers of newfound courage, resurfaced with a vengeance. She watched from behind the foliage as the man spoke with the village elder, his gestures urgent. Knowing she could not avoid confrontation, Amina stepped forward, her heart pounding in her chest. The man's eyes widened in surprise, and then narrowed with purpose. "Miss Amina," he began, his voice a mix of relief and stern duty. "Your father has sent me. He beseeches you to return. There's been much turmoil since your departure. Your family is incomplete without you." Amina's resolve hardened at his words. "My place is no longer defined by my father's boundaries. I have found a new path that honors my spirit," she responded, her voice steady but her insides roiling. The man sighed, a look of genuine concern crossing his features. "I understand more than you know, but consider your mother's grief and your father's plight. They are not adversaries, they are family." His words struck a chord in Amina, torn between the life she had left and the life she had embraced. The decision lay heavy on her shoulders, a burden that was hers alone to carry. Over the next few days, Amina grappled with her thoughts. She wandered through the reserve, each step a dialogue with her soul. The land that had embraced her so warmly now echoed her turmoil, the whispering winds like the voices of her ancestors guiding her. One evening, as the sun painted the sky with strokes of orange and purple, Amina sat by the fire with the old storyteller, her mentor and friend. She shared her dilemma, her voice threading through the crackling of the flames. "Remember, Amina, every tree in the forest must decide which way to bend when the winds come," the old man said, his eyes reflecting the firelight. "It's not just about standing firm, but also about knowing when to let go." His metaphor settled in her heart. She realized that her return could be not a surrender, but a confrontation, an opportunity to redefine her ties on her own terms, a bridge between her past and her future. With a newfound purpose, Amina decided to face her past. She packed her few belongings, her crafts, and the stories she had cultivated. Her return to Lagos was not a retreat, but a stride towards a confrontation that would demand all her newfound strength and wisdom. As Amina left Yankari, the reserve seemed to nod in approval, its ancient trees waving farewell. The village elder handed her a small hand-carved figurine, a symbol of protection and remembrance. Amina approached the waiting jeep, her silhouette firm against the rising sun. The journey back to Lagos was silent, a time of reflection and gathering of inner strength. She was not returning as the same woman who had fled. She was returning as a storyteller, a weaver of her own destiny, ready to face whatever awaited her in the sprawling city she once called home. As Lagos loomed on the horizon, its familiar chaos and clamor greeted Amina like the embrace of a relative not entirely beloved, but inherently known. She steadied herself, the city's pulse sinking with the quickening beats of her heart, a reminder of what she had left behind and what awaited her. Her arrival was not unnoticed. News of her return rippled through the affluent districts where the elite mingled with power and privilege, reaching the ears of Chief Adebiyi. His reaction was a complex blend of relief and stern anticipation. The prodigal daughter was home, but on what terms? Amina stepped into her father's compound, its opulence overshadowing the simpler life she had come to cherish. Her father awaited, his presence dominating the grand foyer. His gaze, though stern, betrayed a flicker of vulnerability as he regarded his daughter standing before him, transformed not just in attire, but in bearing. "Amina, you have returned," he stated, the simplicity of his words belying the depth of emotion behind them. "I have, Baba," Amina replied, her voice a calm river flowing with strength. "I come not to yield to demands, but to forge understanding." The reunion was tense, with motherly tears and fatherly admonitions. Her mother enveloped her in a soft embrace, whispering words of love and missed moments. The familiarity of her mother's scent, a mix of shea butter and jasmine, offered a comfort that Amina hadn't realized she had missed. Chief Adebiyi, however, was not swayed by sentiment alone. "You belong here, Amina. Your place is to stand by us, to embrace the legacy of your forebears." Amina listened, her resolve clear. "Baba, my place is where I make it. I have learned much, seen the power of stories that belong not only to the past, but to the future we choose to create. Let me share these with you. Let us weave new stories together." Intrigued despite himself, Chief Adebiyi nodded slowly. "Speak then. Share these tales you hold in such high regard." Gathered in the ornate living room, Amina began to recount her experiences, the lessons of the land, and the stories of those she had met. Each tale was a thread, colorful and vibrant, weaving a picture of life's intricate mosaic. Her words painted the beauty of the Yankari, the wisdom of the old storyteller, and the harmony of living with nature's rhythm. As she spoke, the room transformed into a canvas of imagination. Her family, once skeptical, found themselves drawn into the narrative. Her father, a man moved by power and wealth, found a surprising kinship with the tales of resilience and unity. Days turned into weeks, and Amina became a bridge between her world and theirs. She proposed new ventures for the family's businesses, sustainable practices that would benefit both land and people. Skeptical at first, Chief Adebiyi soon saw the wisdom in her ideas. Under her influence, the company began to invest in ecotourism and community projects that brought prosperity to the local areas while preserving their heritage. Amina's return brought change. Her stories a catalyst for a new chapter in the Adebiyi legacy. She stood firm, a weaver not just of tales but of futures, her spirit a testament to the power of understanding and the strength of will. As she looked out over the bustling city from the balcony of her old room, Amina realized that her love for Lagos had never faded. It had simply grown, much like herself. The city, with all its complexities, was part of her tapestry, a piece of the broader picture she continued to weave with every choice, every story, every dream dared. In the heart of Lagos, as the dawn painted the sky with hues of gold and crimson, Amina stood at the forefront of change. Her return to the city had sparked a transformation not only within her family's estate, but also across the broader community, her influence spreading like the roots of a mighty Iroko tree. The news of the Adebiyi's shift towards sustainability and community engagement stirred the elite circles of Lagos. Dinners and meetings buzzed with discussions of the fresh perspectives Amina brought back, her ideas challenging the status quo and inspiring others to envision a more inclusive future. One crisp morning, Amina arranged a gathering in the verdant gardens of her family home, inviting local leaders, business magnates, and influencers from various sectors. The air was vibrant with anticipation as guests arrived, curious about the woman who had swayed the formidable Chief Adebi. As the assembly took their seats, Amina took the podium, her presence commanding yet graceful. "Today, we stand on the precipice of a new era," she began, her voice resonating with conviction. "An era where we embrace our heritage while forging a path that sustains and enriches our future." She outlined proposals for partnerships between her family's business and local cooperatives, initiatives that prioritized environmental sustainability and economic opportunity. Her words were not just proposals, but visions of potential realities, her passion igniting a fire of possibility in the hearts of her audience. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Discussions flowed, ideas took shape, and commitments were made. Amina facilitated dialogues, bridging gaps between traditional practices and innovative approaches. In the weeks that followed, Amina worked tirelessly, her days a blend of meetings, site visits, and strategy sessions. She collaborated closely with her father, who found himself increasingly proud of the leader his daughter had become. Together, they laid the groundwork for projects that would benefit the local communities, preserving their cultural integrity while fostering economic growth. However, the winds of change brought challenges. Some resisted the new direction, clinging to old methods and views. Amina faced opposition, her ideas tested against the tides of skepticism and conservatism. Yet with each challenge, her resolve grew stronger, her strategies more refined. Amidst this whirlwind of activity, Amina found solace in the quiet moments spent in the old storyteller's figurine she had brought back. It served as a reminder of her experiences, a symbol of the wisdom she carried forward. She often held it in moments of reflection, drawing strength from its simplicity and the memories it held. As the months passed, the fruits of her labor began to show. The eco-tourism projects not only attracted tourists, but also provided jobs to many locals, their lives uplifted by the opportunities created. The community projects flourished, schools received better resources, and healthcare access improved, painting a picture of a thriving community. Amid her successes, Amina remained grounded. She knew that real change was a slow process, a series of persistent efforts rather than instant results. Her commitment to her vision remained unwavering, each step forward a testament to her dedication. One evening, as the sun set over the bustling city, Amina walked through the community market, her eyes observing the vibrant exchange of goods and laughter. She saw her impact not just in the physical improvements, but in the smiles of the people, their expressions lighter, their futures brighter. As night fell over Lagos, Amina stood on her balcony, the city lights a mirror to the stars above. She realized that her love for this place ran deep, its pulse intertwined with her own. Here, in this complex, challenging, beautiful city, she had woven a new narrative, one that intertwined her past with her present, her dreams with her realities. And as the night deepened, she knew her work was far from done, but she was ready for whatever twists the tapestry of life held next. A soft breeze rustled through the leaves of the neem tree that stood as a sentinel in the Adebi family compound, its branches a canopy of history and witness to the unfolding saga beneath. Amina sat there, where once as a child she had played and dreamed, now a place of contemplation and decision. The rhythm of Lagos pulsed around her, each beat a reminder of the changes she had woven into the fabric of the city's life. Her initiatives had taken root, drawing acclaim and skepticism alike. Yet, as the community began to thrive, new challenges emerged, each demanding a finesse and wisdom that Amina was still cultivating. On this particular day, as the sun cast long shadows over the garden, Amina was joined by her father, Chief Adebi. His steps, once confident and commanding, now carried a hint of the contemplation that marked Amina's own demeanor. "Amina, your efforts have transformed not just our lands but our minds," Chief Adebi began, his voice softer than the days of stern commands. "Yet we face opposition from those who see this new path as a threat to their own power." Amina nodded, her mind tracing the intricate webs of politics and power plays that had surfaced. "I expected resistance, Baba. Change is often seen through the lens of loss rather than gain, but we must stand firm for the benefit of the many." Chief Adebi sighed, the weight of years and responsibility etched in the lines of his face. We will stand firm indeed, but there's more. There are talks of underhanded dealings, attempts to undermine our projects. We need to be vigilant, perhaps more strategic in our approach. The warning struck a chord with Amina. Her vision for a better future was clear, but the path was fraught with more obstacles than she had anticipated. She realized that to navigate this terrain, she would need allies, both within and beyond the city limits. Perhaps it's time to weave a wider net, to engage with other leaders who share our vision, Amina suggested, her thoughts shaping into a plan. A coalition could strengthen our position and expand our reach. Her father nodded, the idea sparking a new light in his eyes. A wise suggestion. Your vision continues to lead us, Amina. I will arrange meetings with potential allies. We'll need every friend we can gather. As the conversation drew to a close, Amina felt the weight of leadership settling upon her shoulders, a mantle she was learning to wear with grace. She walked through the market later that day, her eyes and ears open to the murmurs of daily life. Here, she saw the direct impact of her work, the vibrant stalls, the busy shoppers, the laughter of children playing, a community reborn. Yet, even as she smiled back at the faces that now looked upon her with respect and hope, Amina's mind was alert to the undercurrents of discontent and the shadowy figures that moved in the margins. She knew that success brought not just rewards, but envy and opposition. Determined to protect what she had helped to build, Amina reached out to old friends and new acquaintances, knitting together a network of support and mutual interest. Meetings were held, some in the open, others in quiet secrecy, each a strategic step towards a united front. One evening, under the very same neem tree where many of her ideas had taken root, Amina met with leaders from nearby regions. Together, they laid the groundwork for a coalition that would champion sustainable development across broader territories. As they talked, the air grew thick with the promise of rain, the first drops pattering on the broad leaves above. The storm that broke was swift and cleansing, washing the air clean, a natural mirror to the cleansing Amina hoped to bring to her society. Under the protective cover of the neem tree, with the chorus of the rain around them, a pact was formed, a pact of allegiance to a shared vision of progress and prosperity. As the rain ceased and the stars began to peek through the clearing skies, Amina felt a renewed sense of purpose. Her path was set, her allies chosen, and her heart ready for the challenges and triumphs that lay ahead in the intricate dance of leadership and legacy. The coalition that Amina had helped to forge became a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of unity. Under her leadership, the group convened regularly beneath the expansive branches of the neem tree, their meetings a blend of strategy and shared aspirations. Each leader brought their own experiences and insights, enriching the dialogue and strengthening the bonds of their alliance. As the network grew, so did their influence. Projects that had once seemed ambitious now unfolded with greater ease, supported by a collective will and pooled resources. The benefits rippled through the communities, bringing with them a surge of optimism and empowerment. Yet with the expansion of their efforts came increased scrutiny and resistance from entrenched interests threatened by the shift in power dynamics. These adversaries were not just local magnates, but also regional power brokers who had long profited from the status quo. In response, Amina initiated a series of community forums, inviting not only the coalition members, but also skeptics and critics. These gatherings were held in various locales, from bustling city halls to quiet village squares, each chosen to foster open dialogue and transparency. During one such forum in a coastal town significantly impacted by environmental challenges, Amina addressed a packed assembly, her words echoing through the crowded space. We gather not to impose but to invite. Each voice here holds the weight of this community's future. Let us weave our intentions together, creating a fabric strong enough to support the well-being of all. Her message struck a chord. Residents who had felt sidelined by previous administrations voiced their concerns and hopes. Fishermen spoke of depleted waters, farmers of eroded soils, and youths of the lack of opportunities. Each story, each testimony added depth to the understanding of the coalition's leaders, guiding their strategies. The forums became a cornerstone of Amina's approach, a way to build trust and consensus. Meanwhile, the projects initiated by the coalition started to bear tangible results. In one village, a new irrigation system transformed arid land into fertile fields. In another, a solar power initiative brought light and energy to homes, empowering locals with reliable electricity for the first time. These successes were not without their challenges. Some projects faced logistical hurdles, others bureaucratic red tape. But with each obstacle, Amina's resolve deepened, her strategies becoming more innovative and inclusive. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with streaks of orange and purple, Amina met with her closest advisors in the quiet of her garden. The air was charged with the heady scent of blooming jasmine, a subtle reminder of nature's cycles of growth and renewal. "We are turning the tide," she stated, her eyes reflecting the last light of the day. "But we must remain vigilant. Our progress has stirred waters deep and dark, and there will be those who seek to muddy our path." Her advisors nodded, their expressions a mix of determination and concern. Plans were laid to strengthen their initiatives, to fortify against potential sabotage, and to expand their outreach further. As the meeting drew to a close, Amina remained in the garden, her thoughts as expansive as the night sky above. The stars, ancient and unyielding, reminded her of the enduring power of resilience and vision. In the days that followed, Amina traveled to several coalition regions, her presence reinforcing the ties that bound the alliance. Each visit was an opportunity to learn, to adjust, and to reaffirm her commitment to the collective endeavor. Through these travels, Amina's leadership was tested and tempered like steel in the forge of adversity and triumph. Her vision, once a solitary flame, now burned brightly across a network of shared destinies, illuminating a path not just for her own legacy, but for the prosperity of all who joined in the dance of progress and unity. Under the vast expanse of the African sky, where the horizon stretched endlessly and the air vibrated with the latent energy of impending rains, Amina stood contemplating the evolving landscape of her initiatives. The coalition had swelled, its roots deepening, yet the branches faced the winds of challenge as power structures shifted and old regimes felt threatened. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Amina convened an unexpected assembly. Traders, artisans, and elders gathered, drawn by the respect she had earned and the curiosity her presence always sparked. Amidst the aroma of spices and the vivid colors of textiles, Amina addressed the crowd, her voice a clear, powerful beacon amidst the murmurs of interest. "Today we stand united not just by the lands we share, but by the dreams we dare to nurture. It is not merely our success that defines us, but our response to adversity," she declared, her eyes scanning the faces before her, each a story of struggle and strength. Her words stirred the spirit of community, reinforcing the unity that had become the hallmark of her leadership. However, as the coalition's influence expanded, so did the spectrum of challenges. Some local leaders, once allies, now harbored doubts, swayed by the persuasive whispers of those who wished to see Amina's downfall. Aware of the undercurrents threatening to destabilize the coalition, Amina sought counsel from her father, Chief Adabi. They met in the quiet sanctuary of his study, where the weight of history was palpable in the air, contained within the books and artifacts that lined the shelves. "Baba, the path we tread grows thornier," Amina began, her voice steady despite the brewing storm. "Our vision threatens those who have not yet seen the light of progress, those who cling to shadows for fear of what change may bring." Chief Adabi, his face etched with both pride and concern, nodded slowly. "You have ignited a great flame, Amina. It is natural that it draws both moths and shadows. We must be the beacon that continues to shine, guiding the way forward." They strategized deep into the night, devising ways to strengthen their initiatives and protect their progress. Chief Adebiyi proposed a series of strategic alliances with international bodies that shared their vision, offering a new layer of support and legitimacy. Meanwhile, Amina focused on fortifying the internal bonds within the coalition, organizing workshops and joint projects that would not only enhance the capabilities of each member, but also deepen their commitment to the collective cause. As the new strategies began to take shape, a grand festival was organized to celebrate the coalition's achievements and to showcase the tangible benefits of their work. Villages that had seen transformation hosted the events, their success stories the centerpieces of the celebration. During the festival, as dancers whirled to the rhythm of drums and children laughed in the glow of lantern light, Amina felt a profound connection to the land and its people. Her heart was full, seeing the joy and pride in the eyes of those whose lives had been touched by their work. However, the festival also drew the eyes of detractors. In the shadows, figures watched, their intentions cloaked in the anonymity of the crowd. Among them was a figure from Amina's past, one who harbored resentment and a deep-seated desire for retribution. This individual, once a close ally, now turned adversary, plotted to undermine Amina's influence, believing that her fall would restore the old order. As the night drew to a close, Amina remained unaware of the brewing conspiracy. She walked among her people, her spirit uplifted by their support, yet vigilant, always aware of the delicate balance of power and the necessity of guarding their collective dreams against those who would see them deferred. As the festival's embers cooled beneath the waning moon, Amina's thoughts lingered on the paths yet to be walked. The celebration had been a vibrant testament to the coalition's progress, but the shadows cast by hidden foes reminded her that success often stirred silent adversaries. In the days following the festival, murmurs of discord began to thread through the once harmonious tapestry of the coalition. Amina heard of meetings where her leadership was questioned, her strategies debated with an intensity that bordered on dissent. These whispers reached her ears, carried by those loyal to her vision, and weighed heavily on her mind. Determined to address the rifts before they widened, Amina convened a gathering of key coalition members. They met under the ancient baobab tree in the village square, its massive trunk standing as a silent witness to countless generations of discourse and decision. "Let us speak openly," Amina began, her gaze meeting each of her counterparts with a directness that invited honesty. "I know there are concerns, doubts perhaps about the path we are charting together. It is crucial that we confront these now to fortify our unity." One by one, her allies voiced their fears and grievances. Some felt the pace of change was too swift, leaving little room for traditional practices to adapt. Others expressed anxiety over the increasing scrutiny from external forces, worried that the coalition's visibility made them vulnerable. Listening intently, Amina acknowledged each concern, her responses thoughtful and measured. "Our strength lies not in our uniformity, but in our ability to adapt and include. Let us find ways to blend the new with the old, ensuring that no one feels left behind." Her words began to mend the fraying edges of their alliance, but Amina knew that spoken assurances needed to be underpinned by tangible actions. She proposed a series of community-led projects that would directly involve those feeling most overwhelmed by the changes. Additionally, she suggested regular open forums that would allow community members to express their concerns and contribute their ideas to the coalition's plans. As the meeting concluded, the air felt clearer, the shared challenges now opportunities for renewed commitment. However, the true test of their solidarity was still to come. Days later, an urgent message reached Amina. The individual who had watched her from the shadows during the festival had made a bold move, spreading false allegations about the coalition's financial management. The rumors were designed to sow seeds of distrust and fear among the broader community and external investors. Facing this new challenge, Amina acted swiftly. She organized a transparent audit of all coalition finances and projects, inviting independent observers to verify their integrity. She also held a press conference, addressing the allegations head-on, her calm demeanor and openness reinforcing her credibility. "To those who doubt, I say, let our actions speak for us. We stand open to scrutiny because we walk a path of honesty and purpose," Amina declared, her words resonating with those who had seen the benefits of the coalition's efforts. Simultaneously, Amina reached out to her network, reinforcing her relationships with international allies and local leaders alike. Her proactive approach not only quelled the immediate crisis, but also strengthened the coalition's standing, demonstrating her capacity to lead through turbulence. As the crisis ebbed, Amina spent a quiet evening under the baobab tree, reflecting on the events that had tested her resolve. The wind whispered through the leaves, a soft yet persistent reminder of the enduring challenges she would face. Yet, the same wind carried the laughter of children playing in the distance, their joy a clear sign of the hope and prosperity that her efforts aimed to secure. With the stars twinkling above, Amina felt a deep connection to the land and its people, her resolve hardened like the ancient roots of the baobab, ready to withstand whatever storms might come, safeguarding the future she was determined to build. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, bathing the landscape in a soft glow, Amina stood amidst the bustling energy of a newly inaugurated community center, a tangible result of the coalition's efforts. This center, a hub of education and enterprise, symbolized the progress they had achieved together, a beacon of the community's potential and a fortress against the storms of dissent and disruption. The opening ceremony was vibrant, filled with the rich tapestry of local music, dance, and art. Leaders from various parts of the region gathered, their earlier uncertainties now replaced by expressions of solidarity and pride. Amina, at the heart of the celebration, felt a profound sense of fulfillment, seeing the joy and anticipation in the eyes of the community members who would benefit directly from the center. However, the path to this day had not been without its obstacles. The recent turmoil stirred by the allegations had tested the fabric of their alliance, but it had also woven them closer, each thread strengthened by shared trials and triumphs. Amina had emerged not just as a leader, but as a symbol of resilience and integrity, her actions speaking louder than the whispers of her detractors. In her address to the gathering, Amina reflected on the journey of the coalition, carefully avoiding the direct term but evoking its essence. We have built more than just structures. We have built bridges between old and new, past and future, challenges and solutions. These bridges are built on the strongest material known to us, our collective will and spirit. As applause echoed through the center, Chief Adebiyi stood by her side, his demeanor one of undisguised respect and admiration for his daughter. The challenges had brought them closer, their relationship fortified by mutual understanding and a shared vision for their community's welfare. Post-ceremony, as guests explored the new facilities, Amina walked to a quieter part of the garden, where the first trees planted by the coalition now bore fruit. Touching the bark, she felt a connection to the earth, a reminder that, like these trees, her roots were deep, nourished by the soil of her homeland and watered by the sweat of her brow. The days that followed were filled with strategic meetings and planning sessions. Amina and her allies expanded their reach, initiating more centers like the first, each becoming a node in a growing network of development and empowerment. They also established a fund to support local entrepreneurs, particularly women and youth, ensuring that the seeds of today's success would bloom into tomorrow's legacies. As the season turned, bringing with it the promise of rain and renewal, Amina received international recognition for her efforts. Delegates from global sustainability forums visited, keen to learn from the successes of her initiatives. While the accolades were gratifying, Amina's true reward was seeing her community thrive, witnessing the empowerment of its members, and knowing that her efforts had ignited a lasting change. One evening, with the setting sun casting long shadows, Amina returned to the neem tree in her family's compound. Sitting beneath its expansive canopy, she pondered the cycles of challenge and change. The landscape of her life, once confined to the rigid expectations of her heritage, now sprawled wide and verdant with possibility. Her father joined her, his presence a comforting reminder of the bridges mended and paths forged together. "You have done well, Amina," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Amina smiled, her eyes reflecting the deep hues of the twilight sky. "We have done well, Baba, together." As night fell, the stars appeared, each one a distant echo of the past, a beacon for the future. Amina knew her work was never truly done, but she was ready for whatever came next, armed with the wisdom of the land, the strength of her people, and the resilience of a heart deeply rooted in love and duty. Here, under the ancient neem tree, she was home, her legacy interwoven with the very soul of the land she served.